Is your day going well today? There are times when you might not want to answer that question, but I'll keep asking until you truly feel okay. Haha, welcome to our podcast series, which often begins with why questions based on the first principles thinking method. This approach offers you diverse perspectives on many different issues in life. To truly embrace a vibrant spirit, join us for this episode. Children love summer because of those days spent tossing textbooks aside to chase kites on the riverbanks. Growing up a bit, we fall for autumn, its gentle melancholy rippling in our hearts. Spring is similar, a season for reunion, watching fireworks, and staying up all night by the fire with a pot of sticky rice cakes. But not once have I ever put winter on my list of favorites. I always wonder, does anyone actually like winter? Can anyone truly bear this bone-chilling cold? Winter, for me, is tied to sadness. It's a season of incessant rain and wind, of bleak, sorrowful cold. When winter arrives, days shorten and nights lengthen. The land turns stark and silent in a way that's hard to describe. Streets feel languid, the sky loses its vibrant blue, and the sun slowly fades. Every corner of the city shifts after a biting north wind, looking desolate and melancholic. People become acutely aware of their own breath and each other's. We hear a tremor deep within our hearts. We slip through hazy dreams, with fog blanketing the paths. To describe it with such flowery language is perhaps just an excuse for my own laziness. When winter comes, my whole world seems to shrink, perfectly fitting the size of my bed. I just want to be like a small cat, curled up in a warm blanket and soft mattress, living out the winter season. And then, I'll lament, what have I accomplished while time covertly spun away with each thin page of the calendar? When the weather turns harshly cold, animals begin to hibernate. Every species, from insects and reptiles to birds and primates, seeks out a nest, a hollow tree, a tall bush, or a deep, dark cave somewhere. Then, they curl up and fall into a deep sleep that lasts through the freezing winter. Hibernation is a survival strategy for animals to escape the cold and conserve energy when winter takes hold. How wonderful! I used to think that when I watched cartoons and animal documentaries, seeing little bear cubs snoring peacefully in tree hollows. I thought this hibernation wasn't just ordinary sleep. It was a marvel of biology, of nature, and a miracle for the bear. I wished I could experience that miracle too. If only the whole world could go to sleep in winter and then wake up when spring arrived. Surely then, half of our sorrows would diminish. Unfortunately, humans can't imitate bears and sleep through the winter months. In a state of physical inactivity, without eating, without hygiene, without excreting waste, humans would suffer from heart failure, blood clots, organ damage, blood poisoning, and memory loss. Even though we know hibernation would cause severe damage to the human body, it's still probably a wish for many, because winter is simply too harsh for them. Those days of isolation aren't just confined to the last 3 months of the year. For so long, they haven't known what warmth feels like. Where do they get their energy reserves now? They can't sleep, but they can't stay awake either. Winter is linked to old age. The biting wind from the northeast carries drizzling rain in the leaden sky, making tree branches and blades of grass sway. I see the marks of time more clearly etched on the faces and hair of my grandma, dad, and mom. My heart aches for mom's hacking cough every time the weather turns cold. I pity dad's sigh about last night's wind. I feel the pain of grandma's aching joints and perpetually sore back. Some nights I wake with a start and see the light still on in grandma's room. Her eyes are tightly shut, but her hands are clenched into fists, gently tapping her lower back. The faint scent of medicated oil makes my nose tingle. I don't know if it's that scent or some other sadness that winter brings. The child climbs onto the bed, gently rubbing grandma's back with small hands, wishing for some magic to make the pain disappear. Its eyes and lips well up, not knowing why. It cannot accept witnessing its grandparents and parents, the people it loves, growing old. The child's growth means the slow aging of dad and mom. It's when the child notices dad's back beginning to stoop, when it sees mom's forehead covered in wrinkles. When they get older, parents often revert to being like children. Over time, the roles of children and parents seem to reverse. The children become adults and the parents become cautious children. They fear loneliness, fear being forgotten by their children, fear their slowness might bother their children. That day, at a rest stop while waiting for a bus, I saw a father and daughter enter. They were probably on a trip back to their hometown. The father stayed close to his daughter, as if afraid she might leave. Every time she used her phone to scan a QR code for payment, he watched in amazement. When he heard his daughter arranging the itinerary, he nodded in agreement, as if fearing that one more word would complicate things for her. He saw his daughter's phone battery was low and took out a charger to plug it in for her, but then the daughter realized he had only plugged the phone into the charger, not the charger into the power outlet. At that moment, the father, flustered, blamed himself for being useless. Even when he needed to use the restroom, he spoke in a small voice. "Dad, can I stop and use the restroom?" From a tall, dignified middle-aged man, he had become an old man who walked slowly. Time is truly cruel. The more we love someone, the harder it is to accept seeing them grow old and weak, because it no longer aligns with our image of them. Isn't accepting to see our parents age simply a way of learning to love them? When parents grow old, their greatest fear isn't being forgotten by society, but gradually becoming lonely, no longer needed by their children and grandchildren. Sometimes they are truly clumsy and don't know how to express their love, but they never stop loving their children. They stand from afar, watching, hoping to do something to help their children, hoping to receive a little more love from the children they once carried and suffered for. Children spend their whole lives waiting for their parents to apologize, but when parents truly apologize, we can only shed tears. It was then that I truly understood the saying, sometimes children should forgive the mistakes of adults. Winter is associated with poverty. In Vietnam, we don't really have snow because we're in the tropics, so most areas of our country don't experience snowfall. However, ice and snow do appear in some high-altitude regions. As children, we used to wish that Vietnam had snow like European countries. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Would it really be wonderful? In reality, ice and snow cause significant damage to crops and livestock in many provinces and cities, especially in the northern mountainous regions of Vietnam. The arrival of winter's harsh weather is also a major concern for farmers, worrying about their livestock and poultry at home, about the livelihood of the whole family. If the year is too cold, buffalo, cattle, and poultry will die one after another. It breaks my heart to think of Mom, Dad, and the hardworking farmers in my hometown. People see winter as romantic, with beautiful snowfall like in movies when they have plenty. But in the eyes of the deprived, there is nothing but encroaching poverty. When winter arrives, poverty is clearly visible in Dad's frayed trouser cuffs and Mom's faded jacket. Then I'll see Mom sitting on the porch, meticulously mending worn clothes with threads of love. Mom labors to hang thick down blankets out in the yard. Mom keeps the kitchen hearth warm with a passionate fire, a fire of her love and sacrifice. Looking around, I see our home has nothing but love. Poor people living together can only make poor promises to each other. When we sell the buffalo herd for a good price, Dad will buy you new clothes. When Mom saves a little more, I'll buy you a bicycle for school, okay? When I grow up, I'll earn money to help Dad and Mom so they don't have to work so hard. These whens sound as vague as the mist hanging before the door, a vast, formless, intangible white space in the labyrinth of life outside. People keep walking, but sometimes their hearts wander somewhere in the expansive nostalgia of their souls, of the bleak winter. Even though winter makes life cold and sad for many unfortunate souls struggling for a living out there, perhaps the biting chill of winter gives more meaning to our steps in life, helping us better understand the meaning of happiness amidst life's uncertainties and suffering. The child has new clothes, and Mom bought a bicycle for school, and now that child is keeping their poor promise. For those who keep their promises, whether those promises are rich or humble, they are all worthy of respect. Winter brings with it a lump in the throat and a wave of nostalgia. Do you feel that way too? When the weather turns cold, our sense of smell seems to become more sensitive. We might catch a faint scent of an old season in the wind, the aroma of roasted corn and sweet potatoes, the smell of freshly brewed coffee. Our hearts fill with memories, and suddenly a sadness seems to ignite amidst days that only clung to love. Winter stories are about intertwined fingers, about tight hugs, a gentle touch of hands amidst the fog-laden alleys, enough to stir another heart, setting it aflutter. The allure of warm hands is a wordless but magical feeling. Do you believe that when our fingers gently meet, it's also when they exchange voiceless kisses, whispering warmly into innocent lips? A kiss on the hand, a kiss full of tenderness and reverence. It turns out we loved so much back then. Forgetting all the dreary gray of the streets, just seeing each other would automatically bring a smile. Winter makes every embrace passionate and every loneliness terrifying. Someone once told me that if you have to break up, don't do it in winter, because winter is too cold for goodbyes. But really, if it's a breakup and a shattering, any season will feel desolate. How can the cold of space overcome the coldness of a human heart? What can make this cold season warm and lively can entirely turn a spring full of flowers and leaves into desolation in an instant. Why do people who love each other not end up together? That's also why some loves survive winter only to die after a spring night. When I see unfulfilled relationships, where two people have gone through so many ups and downs, overcome all difficulties but ultimately aren't together, when I see them still loving each other but saying goodbye, I've wondered so much. I used to suspect that behind this separation, there was something hidden, a betrayer, a fickle heart, some stranger who stepped in. But later, I realized that just because you love each other doesn't mean you'll be together forever. "You cannot feed each other with starlight," he said. "Please don't cry." Reading those lines makes my throat tight. We long for a passionate love and think that loving means giving our all, but then life and its endless worries will splash cold water on us, waking us up. Even so, my love, I still want to tell you this. No matter what happens tomorrow, I hope you always understand that we loved each other so much that I've told countless stars about you, about us, about the love I always cherished. Winter closes the annual cycle of the earth and sky, but it's not the end of each person's life. Humans often reject all ideas of death because it implies nothingness, but life is formed from a totality, from conception to departure, each step having its own richness. The end of life is still life. Grass is often impermanent, naturally giving its all to be green, giving its all to be vibrant, then giving its all to wither. Whether under scorching yellow sun or torrential rain that causes landslides, it patiently roots deep in the earth to survive and exist. Only then do we realize that the 4 seasons born into life each have their own rules. We must experience the scorching heat of summer to know the gentleness of autumn. We must experience the harshness of winter to see how brilliant spring truly is. For humans, winter often stirs a subtle, melancholic emotion, perhaps because the human heart weighs more than the heart of plants and grass. When a loved one is still in hand, the heart is full of a warm, sunny season. When a loved one departs, they leave behind only a stormy sky. But listen, we don't lose them. I read a saying like this: you don't lose them, you return them. We don't lose them. We just let them return to themselves, and they return your life to you. There are figures who never stand out in our view, yet they are the ones who guided us through life's currents, both smooth and rough. There are days with no sun at all, clouds silently drifting, a gentle breeze. Sitting, sipping warm tea at a familiar cafe with a friend, quietly drifting with Trin Kong Sun's melodious music, watching people come and go, my heart feels light. Winter, I realize, is more interesting than I thought. The 4 seasons come and go, nearing then separating. Every season is the same. They arrive and depart just as human lives change over time, urging us forward. When winter comes, we cherish even more the landscapes that were once fresh and sparkling, now lying still in the cold. But what does it matter? That is the cycle, the alternation, and the shifting of life, the human condition. Who among us has not passed through winter, right? You know, there's a beautiful word in English. Appreciate the warmth of the sun in winter. It means the winter sun, that warm, pleasant feeling under the sun in the middle of winter. It's the feeling of sun flooding into a room, sun sparkling through your fingers. It's the feeling of rebirth after long, gloomy, rainy days. It's the feeling of being warmed and recharged with loving energy. Everything will pass. Tomorrow, the sun will shine again. Please forgive the dream that just passed. Please forgive the pain that has faded away. Please forgive the joy that lingers. A smile, sometimes bitter in my heart. Please forgive the winter nights, warm body nestled in peaceful hands. Please forgive the familiar one who must forget someone with me. There is a love that survives winter, only to die after a spring night. Someone brings peace to a distant, boundless place. Someone sows faith in each other, an embrace that cannot be left. Someone goes far, far away, never to return.